Stringing is important because if you actually think about it, what you're using to hit the shuttle isn't the racket. That's what most people would think. But actually, you're hitting the shuttle with the strings. Doesn't matter how expensive your racket is. If you haven't got the right strings, if you haven't got the right tension, you're not going to get the best out of the equipment that you're using. Yonex recommend that their rackets are strung in 2 pieces. That means you use one length of string to do the vertical strings, another length of string to do the cross strings. The reasons for doing this are that it will reduce the stress around the angles of the racket because there's not quite so much tension on the outside strings where you're tying off. And also because Yonex recommend that you string the cross strings 10% higher than the main strings. This retains the structure and the integrity of the racket, but obviously if you're doing 2 different tensions, it makes sense to use 2 different lengths of string. The tension that you choose can also be affected by the string that you use. If you use a thinner string, you don't actually need quite such a high tension to get the same degree of repulsion power that you would need for a thicker string. Another factor to consider when you're choosing a tension would obviously be the racket and specifically the recommended tension guide that appears on the racket. You don't really want to exceed that, otherwise you're putting stress on the frame. Higher tensions are good for getting optimal repulsion and for optimal control. The repulsion, the power part, will only come through if you're hitting the shuttle consistently in the sweet spot in the centre of the racket, and the higher the tension, the smaller the sweet spot. So for the average player that maybe hits in different areas of the racket, higher tension's not benefiting them. So for those type of players, lower tensions are going to be more beneficial.